In this video, I'm going to show you how to transform this old gas bottle into a one-of-a-kind wood-fired pizza oven. And I did it using only a drill and a grinder. And just to state the obvious, working on gas bottles is extremely dangerous. Please do not try this at home. So after opening the valve on the gas bottle and making sure there was no gas left inside, and I tried to simply open it with a spanner. But this proved to be the first hurdle of the build, which was extremely difficult to move. I just could not budge it. So I ended up making a tool out of a bit of scaffold tube to slide over the top to get a better grip, and use a very long pole, and employed a couple of friends to hold it still while I gave it a yank, and that seemed to do the job.
It's moving! It's moving! Yes! Ah!
After celebrating, I filled the bottle with water and that expelled any dangerous gas that was left in it, and then it was time for a build montage. Everything was held together with nuts and bolts on this project, and I used a lot of these flat brackets which I ground a groove down the middle of so that they snugged the shape of the pizza oven. These L brackets needed to be opened up a bit, so I heated them up with a blowtorch and then smashed them with a hammer.
For the legs, I'm going to use these handrail brackets, which are really easy to find online, and the legs can be handrail, which is also quite easy to buy online. The problem is that they don't lock in place. What I'm going to do is grind this pin out and use a nut and bolt to replace it, and see if I can clamp it closed so that it bites down and I can adjust the angle which this locks into.
As this was the first metalwork project that I've ever done, I know I've made some beginner mistakes. So if you do see anything that I could have improved on, please do let me know. I want to learn from this and want to hear what you have to say. Leave me a comment. I do read every single one of them, and I'll reply when I can. I used this solid steel ammunition case that I got online to act as the firebox. I wanted something made out of steel that's going to withstand the temperatures that the pizza oven is going to demand. So to vary the strength of the fire, I did that by putting the lid of the box on the bottom, drilling holes through both of them, and then that gave me a sliding plate which allowed for more or less air depending on the position that I put it in. I went through a load of drill bits on this project, and I think I actually killed a couple of drill batteries as well. That was all until I discovered the wonders of cutting oil, which made things one heck of a lot easier. The difference between a kitchen oven and a pizza oven is that a pizza oven gets about double the temperature. Because of that, I needed to make sure that the materials I used could withstand those temperatures and actually get there in the first place.
So these pieces that I chopped off right at the beginning, they're going to be the inside of the pizza oven. There's going to be insulation between that and the outside so that the heat's retained on the inside and the outside doesn't get too hot. I need to chop this straight edge into a curve so that when it goes in, it fits against the oval front part of the oven. Nice.
I bent these L brackets into the curvature of the pizza oven and they were used to hold the firebox in place. I wanted it to be removable so it was easy to empty the ash, and it also gave me potential to upgrade to a gas powered one in the future.
So for the chimney, I was going to use this salvaged flue off of a water heater, but on close inspection realised it was actually made of tin or aluminium, something soft. That's not really going to be up to the job. So I splashed out and brought a brand new enamelled flue for a wood burning stove, which should do the job nicely.
To remove the paint on this thing, my first thought was with paint stripper, and it did absolutely nothing. So I moved to something a bit more aggressive and went for a flap disc sander on the angle grinder, and that got the paint off, but it did turn everything in my workshop red. You'll notice in the background there's just a layer of red dust on everything. I found this high temperature paint which was rated well above what I needed it to be, so I use it to give a nice coat of matte black. Installing these inner layers was the fiddliest part of the whole build. They're held in place by a series of bolts on either side to make it floating, with some back nuts to get the spacing right. But there wasn't much space to get hands or tools in there, so it really did take a lot of fiddling around.
So the way this oven's going to work is the fire is going to heat up this inner layer. That's going to get hot and cook the pizza below. This inner layer is pretty much hovering apart from the 6 fixing bolts on either side. Between the inner layer and the outer layer, I'm going to put in some ceramic fibre insulation. That's going to really retain that heat and keep it inside the oven and stop it radiating outside.
This is a high temperature sealant I managed to get my hands on, and I used that to seal up any gaps between panels. I'm not really sure if it was necessary, but I put it in place anyway, just to be sure. I should probably add that if you do want to get your hands on any of these materials, I'll put links to everything I used down in the description.
For the base of this pizza oven, I'm going to use a material called perlite. When that's mixed with cement in a ratio of 5:1 and a little bit of water, it will dry rock hard, and that will serve 2 purposes. One, it will act as an insulator and stop the heat from above escaping at the bottom of the oven. And 2, it will dry rock hard, so it will give me a nice firm base to put my pizza stone on.
Another extra step I probably didn't need to do was to line the firebox with this mesh. The idea was that it gives a gap between the fuel and the box so that the box doesn't get too hot and there's airflow around everything that's burning. I bolted the same mesh into the back door, and that was to make sure that the perlite had something to stick to. Over on the lathe now, which is the first for this channel, and here I shaped a bit of oak offcut to make a handle for the back door. I found out that the legs needed a little bit more support, so I put these smaller handrail pieces and brackets a bit further down, and that stopped them flailing out under the weight of the oven. And no pizza oven is complete without a name, so I used the same heatproof paint in white to spray paint that on the side. One of the last steps was to put in a pizza cooking stone. This is just your standard type you can get off Amazon for your home oven. I'll also put a link to this one down in the description. Final step was to put a fireproof seal around the door, and then time had come to fire this thing up. Now that this thing is built, I need a professional to put it through its paces. So which popular pizza YouTuber can I give this to give it a test? Let me know in the comments below and I'll do everything I can to make it happen. The oven looks great, but the question remains, was it worth the build? Should I have put the time and money into making one, or should I just bought an off-the-shelf one? Well, I plan to go through all of those comparisons and more in an upcoming video, so if you're not subscribed, please do so, and you'll be notified if you ring the bell when the next video is out. With all that said, thank you for watching to the end. I do appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not, and I'll see you in the next video.